Breaking news! A strange penguin has been spotted lurking in the woods. He's been witnessed looking at plants, following animals around, and looting chests. What does he want? What is he here for? Lock your doors and stay inside!
Hey Dave, everything in Minecraft has been so stressful lately, and I just need to take a breather. It's just like how every single Stardew Valley player would vouch for this. It's time to make a farm and relax. Welcome to Farming Crossing 5. In these 100 days, I'm going to collect every food or meal available, find every plant, mineral, and study animals like a field researcher. I will have to explore vast landscapes, fish endlessly, and try not to miss even the tiniest flower. Let's get into it. Day 1. The first thing I do is punch a tree. I have no idea why it's taking so long. Then, the whole thing falls over. I did not expect this tree falling mod. I just stood there for a second in shock. I see a little dog. Hey there, buddy. I grab some berries real quick, already making a start on our collection quest. I made the basic tools, I cut down another big tree, and then continued on my journey. Out of the corner of my eye, I spot an owl. So, you're the guy making all that noise, huh? I dug quickly to grab some stone, found some coal, then made some stone tools and a furnace. Whilst in the crafting screen, I noticed all the recipes on the side and decided to look through some of the easier looking ones. The sweet berry cookies look super easy. Next up, I spotted a sheep. I decided to kill it for some wool so I can sleep through the night. These owls do not shut up. I picked up a bunch more berries, found a mushroom, grabbed some more wool. I spotted a fox, its pup, and a pig, and found some mossy cobblestone. There's just so much to see already. It began to get dark as I made my way onto a beach. Then, out of nowhere, there's this crab, completely shellless, just walking around like it owns the beach. I don't know if it's supposed to happen or if the mod pack's freaking out, but I'm not asking any questions. I still don't know what kind of monsters exist here, so I panic built this tiny wooden hut. It's ugly, it's cramped, but it's home for now. I bravely grabbed some sugarcane and then threw down a sleeping bag to have the fastest sleep ever. I woke up and started the day by cooking some more meat. The shellless crab was back. Honestly, you do you, crab. I spotted a squid swimming around and a flamingo. It's really cute. I took a second to admire it before remembering I'm not here to just stare at one bird. While exploring, I came across a bunch of plants. I just picked up anything I could see. A little further on, I found a spruce house. I couldn't resist checking it out. Inside, there were some chests. I looted them quickly. The second one had a leather belt in it, an extra XP bonus for my charms, and gave me extra trinket slots. Big ol' buckle, feeling jolly. I raided the whole house, filling up my inventory, then came across chests in the attic that have more trinkets to collect. It began to get dark, so I watched the sunset with the local pigs, then slept over at the stranger's house. I woke up to the loud owls again. Honestly, I think they're following me. I then set out walking to see if I could find some more structures or maybe a better biome to build in. I found a pretty white flower, and then I discovered a woodland temple. Basically a desert temple, but flowery. Way too scary. Just way too many creepers lurking around below like they were planning an unwelcome home party, and I tried to leave. But a witch was blocking the exit. I was too worried about the witch to think about grabbing any flowers in here, and I just made a break out of the back and swam my way to the village. At least I got there alive. I raided their chest and found amphibian boots that allow me to swim faster, run faster in the rain, and breathe underwater for longer. I met a villager named Megg, who makes the weirdest Animal Crossing style noises and has okay farming trades. I took the wheat seed she has been growing, and somehow Megg keeps getting undressed. I'm not sure if that's a bug or just a fashion statement, like the crab, so I'm just not asking questions. I took their white stone and slept in a stranger's bed to finish off the night. I woke up and began to rifle through chests. I found a trinket called Infinite Ham, a mysterious piece of meat that smoothly regenerates to its original size. I'm sick. I just spent a long time messing around with the puzzle to research it, trying to figure out all sorts of ways to connect it. Finally, I figured it out. The mod pack is solving world hunger one ham at a time. I found another and completed the puzzle easily my first try. While wandering, I see some lemon bushes and a lava pool. I came across a cute little house in a plains biome. It might be a good spot to settle down with a large empty plain nearby. I ended the day by exploring a big farmhouse nearby. I found yet another ham. Holy, do we not need all of these? But anyways, I just slept inside to call it a night. Day 5. Now, I think I'll build here. Like, I'm going to check out this little shed with a little ladder going downstairs. A whole bunch of nothing, really. Well, it's got a cute little farm. A lot of potential for this area. So I started exploring the surrounding areas and spotted a group of horses. I killed a few to get leather for a backpack. Maybe I felt awful hearing their screams, but my inventory is getting kind of full, so, it had to be done. I'm sorry, Dave. I then placed a waystone in the area to mark the farm and thought for a long while about what to name our area. After a while, I decided to name it Blue Skies Farm. Very on brand. I began to clear out some of the grass and emptied some of my inventory into some random chests. I then made a backpack finally. Desperately needed more inventory space because, my pockets were full of random trinkets and weird plant samples like a true explorer. Plus, I'm a loot goblin. I can't help it but take everything. Then I spotted some chickens outside and planted sugarcane around the river. As the sun sets, I ate a cabbage for some reason and got some rest for a busy day tomorrow. I started the day planting some of my own vegetables in this cute little farm patch. So, some wheat, some tomatoes, and a little bit of garlic. I explored a little bit more around the area and spotted a raccoon. I wanted to see if I could pick them up by shift clicking it. I picked it up, bringing it along. I walked a bit more and found this tiny dirt hut. So, of course, I just had to mess with it and its residents. So I dropped the raccoon inside as a silly, goofy prank. I then go down and find a villager trapped inside of a cage next to a zombie. Not my problem, I just get comfy in there, villager. Then it begins to rain. Perfect timing. At least now I get to test out the trinkets that make me move faster in the rain. I decided it was time to start a proper mine. I realized I had no torches, so I just ran back home real quick. On the way back to the mine, I spotted a blue snail. You match our farm name, bud. We love blue things on the Blue Skies farm. Next up, I began digging the mine out again. I collected some andesite, some granite, and diorite. I picked then breaks, mining some coal I got distracted by. Of course, I forgot a crafting table down there. Another day without iron. So I just went back up to sleep the night away. I started the day by making a bunch of new tools, so I don't have to come back for a bit, and headed back to the mine. Hello, snail. I go back real quick to make some stairs for the mine shaft to maybe make it more aesthetic. Now I can go mining. I made the stairs a little wider on my way down and finished grabbing the rest of the coal from yesterday's mining shift. I then went down to Y level 15 and decided to do a bit of strip mining for some iron. I found a few veins of iron pretty quickly and then stumbled across a big cave. Not sure if there are any scary mobs in here yet, so far nothing has tried to kill me, which is both relieving and suspicious. I kept exploring and came across some urns, which isn't creepy at all. I circled back and mined some lapis, then diamonds, a whole bunch of them, but of course, I didn't bring a crafting table down with me, so I couldn't make an iron pick yet. Then I just see a bat flying by, so I just ended up putting some of the iron in the furnace back at home. I made some iron ingots from some iron pebbles and went to bed. I started the day by making some new iron tools. I made a crafting table to bring along, finally. I geared up and I was ready to go back into the cave for those diamonds I couldn't grab yesterday. Once I was back, I found tons of diamonds. I also spotted some zinc and grabbed a bunch of redstone. Not sure what I'll need it for at this point, but I'll take what I can get. I found even more diamonds. This cave is full of ores, very strange. And I just grabbed anything and everything. I also found a little house thing inside of the cave. I then broke some TNT under the chest. I had a feeling one of these would be trapped. I found some iron, a diamond, and a helmet. The other chest had a safari belt. I'll take it, I guess. I'll hoard any of these trinkets in case I need them later on. I then noticed a skeleton on the map. It was wandering dangerously close. I didn't stick around to say hi. I just ran back up the mine as the sun started to set, and I just made it inside safely, and I just went to bed. I dropped some ores in the furnace to smelt, and I remembered that there are quests with actual rewards. Turns out, if I just accepted this quest earlier, I would have gotten a backpack reward. I didn't need to kill all of those horses. So I collected the backpack and all of the other rewards from quests I had finished, and read through the stuff I needed to collect and got a bunch of Miles tickets. I then took a look at the Catching Fishes quest. Having a bell in your offhand will cause it to ring when a fish is on the line. Huh. Okay, that's cool. And then building an office. So, this is Jess the Beaver here, calling you in my vacation planning headquarters. I'm so happy that you have signed up for the Farming Crossing Getaway Package. I saw that you have collect some Miles tickets already. That's great. These are as good as gold. I'm thinking about setting up an office at the area so we can have more people move in. The thing is, we would need some delivery fee to send the materials over. Would you mind securing the funds for the delivery and set up a community center for handling travel requests from other villagers? I have also included some tools from Ren the Carpenter to help you get started. You can purchase all kinds of items through the Farming for Blockheads market. So the market looks easy to craft. It's just one piece of wool and some wood. The wool needed to be red, which meant getting red dye to dye some sheep. I emptied my inventory a little before searching for a poppy. I found one very quickly just outside the house. I then found and dyed a wild sheep and sheared it real quick. I got the wool, I went back home to craft the market. It's late, and so I just went to sleep. Day 10. So I went to place the market stall in a small house. I tried to let this shellless crab out, but maybe he likes being trapped here? I placed the stall down, not realizing a villager would spawn inside. Immediately panicked because he started suffocating in the wall. I picked up the stall, causing the guy to explode, and moved the stall to a little open shed. And then Jimmy the villager popped out of the ground like some creepy worm. I then took a small break to search through Pinterest to find some inspiration for my farmhouse. I took some inspiration from the user Geese, who had built a medieval style farmhouse. I love the steps and the attached greenhouse. I checked what the market villager sold, and it seems like he's got everything. I began to clear an area to build a farmhouse/office. I used a bucket to clear the grass quickly and noticed a bunch of flowers and cows nearby, even a bee, unlocking them in my guide. I finally accepted the quest with all of the materials I needed for the office and went to bed. Today's mission, find moss, or just something cool to build the roof with. I swear I saw an azalea tree near the village earlier, so I headed back there because if there's azalea, then there's moss underneath, right? So I dug down, kept digging, and kept digging. Eventually, I ended up right back in the same cave I found at the very beginning. No moss. Since I'm already down here, I started grabbing some ores and blocks for building instead. Halfway through my mining expedition, I hear the sounds of zombies through the walls. For some reason, I begin digging towards it, when suddenly, my pickaxe breaks. Instead of going back up, I can make another pick down here, so I grabbed some lava and used it to smelt everything. Turns out, I had just enough wood to make a new crafting table and pickaxe. Might as well smelt the rest of my ores while I'm here, so I just smelted them through the night. I made some leggings today. I figured it was about time to put some pants on. Since I've basically been running around with random trinkets on and no armor really, I headed straight back to the sounds of zombies. I stumbled upon the zombie spawner just under the house, which could be perfect for an XP farm later. The zombies are mean, and I probably should have made more armor at this time, so killing all of the zombies and jumping down, I started searching the chest here. While exploring, I found this Charm of Shrinking necklace that apparently makes me small. It's adorable, but I have no idea what I'm supposed to do with it, so putting it on, it did exactly what I expected. I'm just a little guy. I don't think I'll need this, so I completely forgot I even had a backpack, so I finally used that to clear some inventory space. I then kept mining around, collecting some diorite, calcite, and limestone. I then found a few more ores, spotted a glow squid, and ended up in a redstone heavy area that looked really strange. Filled with crystals and redstone blocks, and it's just very red. Took whatever I could carry. There was another camp in the cave. I checked if they were trapped before raiding them. I then spent the whole night mining, and all of day 13 mining, collecting, and trying not to lose my mind. Nothing wild happened today, though I found an amethyst in a urn, and a spider spawner with chest full of absolutely nothing useful. Heading home, I discovered a bridge-like structure, and wanting to be brave, I headed up to take a look, but quickly changed my mind as I am a wuss with barely any armor on. On day 14, it's finally time to make my way out of this stupid cave. I've been in here just way too long, so I just threw my iron into the furnace, organized my chest, and went to bed for the night. Day 15. I started the morning by checking my quest and collectibles. I've been ignoring a lot of that stuff. Just furnishing the welcome center, blah, blah, blah. Now, if you could set the community center up with some furniture, I would love to move in, start working on a holiday getaway package for your area. So we needed to get started on the office as soon as possible to put furniture in. I finally started working on the office building on day 15. I grabbed a bunch of blocks from my chest to begin. The spruce marks where the main office itself will go, and the tough blocks are to mark out the greenhouse area. A sweet little crab helping me build here. Excuse me, ma'am. It's actually coming along pretty nicely, even if I'm pretending I have a plan. The sun has almost fully set, so I just headed to bed. And then, starting off day 16, I replaced the spruce logs with some cobbled deep slate and basalt to build up a base for the office. I quickly ran out of materials, so it's back to the mines yet again, so I just fill up my inventory with everything I can carry and headed back home. Not much else today, just sleep time. I started building again, and I quickly ran out of deep slate, so I ran home to grab iron, I made a pick, and went back down to the mines again to grab a little more, and managed to finish the base part of the office, at least. I fixed up the side with some stairs to the first floor / crafting, some furnaces and the sawmill block, and adding some fence trims around it as a railing. I placed pressure plates, and then quickly changed my mind. I built up the main house part using spruce wood and spruce planks, creating a gradient, but ran out of logs before I could finish. Annoyed, I ate a quick ham snack and ran back to sleep. And then it's a spruce run today. I headed out with my axe, and along the way, I see owls just following a squid around the river. They're so loud, but very adorable. I then chopped a ton of trees, and I decided to do a little exploring around the area. I then found some moss carpet, of course, and I picked it up as I raided the nearby birch village. I raided a little bit, but they didn't have much, so I just crossed the little river and collected a bunch of poppies because they looked too pretty to ignore. I then headed home, I planted a spruce forest, I then got back to building up the wooden wall for the rest of the day, making sure to add variation in the pattern, and then crashed for the night. I then began the day by chopping some spruce trees down and started working on the first floor. Cobblestone, andesite, just all the texture-y stuff. Of course, I run out halfway through, as I always do. And I place some torches underneath out of habit and have to go mining again. And I just collected as many materials as I can for the floor so I don't have to come back down here for a while. It's already nighttime by the time I'm done collecting, so I just go straight to bed. Another day of placing the first floor gradient and wall finishing. I patched everything up, chopped a few more trees to keep the supply going, and I make sure to finish up as much as I could today and move some of my furniture in, emptying my inventory as much as possible into a chest, making the shell of a house feel like home. I started on a trim around the house, but the sun is setting and it's hard to see, so I just ran back to the old house and call it a night. I then added a trim around the wooden base using stairs, creating slightly more texture to our big flat walls, and I finally figured out how I want the rest of the walls to go up. I then farmed some more trees, I replanted them, and made good progress. I put in warped doors today. It's blue themed to fit the Blue Skies Farm aesthetic. A bee flew in through the semi-built walls. Get out, bro. You have a house already. Stop being greedy. I farmed some more spruce wood and continued fixing up the second floor wall. I don't know why I decided to make it purely out of spruce wood, but I made a crap ton of it now. It's too late to continue, so I just ran back to the old house, once again. And then I just finished up the walls. So just a lot of running back and forth, just grabbing logs and building it up. The sun began to set, so I stepped back to assess what I've built so far. It doesn't look like much, but it will look a lot better with a roof. I think I'll make it out of deep slate stairs. And so I woke up and decided I wanted some different wood, just in case I wanted to add decoration or just change out some of the spruce. I ran over to where I saw maple trees and cut some large trees, as well as grabbing some mossy cobble and some sand. Whilst I was over here, pulling up my map, I looked around to see if I could spot a dark oak forest, maybe find some darker logs, but I didn't spot one. I explored a little on the way back home, and seeing an orange tree, I grabbed one from the leaves. I'm going to leave it here for now. I'm too scared to break it and not get a sapling. There is a little moss pit here by my original base, so I take it to hopefully duplicate it when I find some bones or make a composter. I planted the new larch saplings by the house. At the new house, I craft some stairs and replace the stairs above the door with these new larch ones. I hate them and immediately take them down. I don't know what I was thinking. I finished off this busy day with just more wall building until the sun sets. Oh, and I finally grabbed my bed from the old house and moved it to the new one. And on day 25, I finally finished up the big walls on the second floor. I feel accomplished. But I know I need to build the roof next, which for me, is the worst part. I headed down our mine to grab some more deep slate, as I surely will need a ton for this massive roof. In the stone cutter, I craft up some deep slate brick stairs, I throw my sand in the furnace, and empty my inventory a little as I'm hoarding again. I then crafted up some cobbled deep slate stairs too. I think we should add some variation in the roof pattern too, so we will start on that tomorrow. I started working on the roof, just getting these shapes right. Before I get too far into the roof, I run a bit away to, just take a look and see if I like it. I stared at the build for a very long time, just debating, unsure whether it was worth it to break everything I just built, as I realized I hated the bottom section. It matches the roof too much. Could I live with it like this for the rest of 100 days? No. Okay, so it took a little bit to redesign and rebuild, but it looks so much better now. I finished the rest of the day doing the roof, making sure to mix up the stairs as I go. I used my handheld stone cutter to make more stairs a couple of times throughout, and I ended the day happy with it. I jumped onto my bed from the roof and went to sleep. I needed more deep slate. Shocking, I know. So I grabbed a bunch, I came back, I finished the roof, and oh my gosh, I'm finally done. The roof is always the worst part of the build, so I'm glad it's done. Slept exhausted. So I started building the greenhouse section today. Now I'm just placing tuff and glass down in a similar way to the reference image we are using. So I just led some local cows and some random sheep, I guess, to our farm, our first animals. I bred them and organized my chest a little now that we are starting to settle in. It's already dark, but I started placing in the glass windows for the main house. Even added a little upper floor with slabs before realizing it was already so late, so I just went to sleep very quickly. I then began building the second floor. This will be my living space above the office. I use the large slabs to break up the spruce. I farm some more spruce trees, as I do every single day, and fix the outside stairs because I forgot to change it when I did the rest of the house. Day 30. I then marked out a little bookshelf area for decoration today. I went back to the old house to grab some of my things that I thought I would need and to look for my books that I collected so far. I cut out some window holes, added the glass, and some other little decorations. I wrapped up the day making the required furniture to complete the Furnishing the Welcome Center quest, ready to decorate more tomorrow. I swapped out the bookshelves during the night, and then today went and fixed up the shutters. I made the library area look way better. I built a cute little office setup. I added cups, chairs, and even a moving fan that actually spins. I love it. It's such a small touch, but it makes the space feel alive. I finished fixing up the bookshelves and then added a little stairway to my living area upstairs. And thought about inviting Jess over soon. But I'll wait until I can, separate our areas properly. I added a cute railing with some horse fence. So I went upstairs to work on the second floor. I filled in the area with a lot of cabinets for temporary mass storage. A kitchen setup, a table, and moved my bed upstairs. I'm gonna move the rest of my stuff up tomorrow. I just decorated mostly today, making the upstairs look like a big kitchen. I slept surrounded by my half-finished apartment. I then discovered I built the roof 2 blocks wide, which means no matter where I place it, the ceiling fan will always be wonky. So I placed a log across the roof. Love that for me. Bet you guys love my wonky house. It has a little bit of wabi-sabi to it. I placed down the fans I made on that new log, and I still can't get over how cool they look moving. Next up, I have to fix the wonky table. It just looks awful. So much better like this, so, it's not off-center anymore. Next chore, I went and cut down some trees, but still can't get over the tree falling mod. For now, I just shoved everything into drawers and chests, just semi-organized. I'll make proper areas soon, and then added more cabinets, just reorganized all my junk, changed the sink out to be a kitchen sink instead of a bathroom sink, and set up the kitchen area to hold food storage. I then placed down a bunch of cabinets downstairs again. Then started organizing my chest. I grabbed everything I wanted from the old house to bring here. I need to separate these animals from the plants in here so they don't trample them. I then fenced them all in here and added some gates as well. These days go by way too fast. It's sleepy time. I then went out to grab sand. I dug up a bunch for the greenhouse. I then found a spider hole in the area, and I'm not sure if spiders spawn in here, so I'm just going to avoid it because I'm busy and I don't want to go in there. I then found a new village along the way. I collected dirt for the greenhouse and some hay while I was at it. Found some bad stuff, some good stuff. Saved a waste stone nearby in case I ever want to come back here. I then grabbed a lot of dirt just to have it. I also spent a while just staring at my chest, so I didn't record that and wrapped up for the night. I then added more stair trims around the house to make it look, less like a box. I picked up glass, tuff, and andesite to keep building up the greenhouse. I then added up the walls most of the way before the sun began to set, so I just headed to bed. I then ran out of tuff and andesite, so I collected a bunch this morning. I came back and kept working on the greenhouse. I cooked a bunch of glass and started figuring out the roof shape of the greenhouse just using some slabs. Another day spent building, so I just quickly went to bed to build more tomorrow. I then kept building up the greenhouse today. I'm kind of struggling to get the roof shape right. And put in this cool glass door. So I just collected more sand and threw it in the furnace, and waited for the glass to smelt for the rest of the day. And then I finally grabbed all of the glass and some dripstone to finally build an infinite lava source, because I need it for smelting. It should work great here next to the stone. Everything's going great. I placed down some raised beds. I hoed the ground. Oh, until I hear a crackling, burning sounds. So that's not good. It's the house. The lava gen, jumped a block and it caught fire, so the whole corner went up in flames. Thankfully, it was just the exterior that was damaged, where, nothing was important. I'm still mad, but, also relieved. It could have been a lot worse. I'm still a bit grumpy because why did this happen? But, time to fix the mess. So I patched the walls, I repaired all of the holes. Still grateful I didn't place any chest in here, so, it's not too bad now. Just frustrating, I really thought it'd be fine there. So I'm definitely moving the lava setup far away from the house. Moved all of the lava gear way out. Felt better instantly, so I just planted some seeds and berry bushes before bed to cool off. And then for the first part of the day, I forgot to record. I placed my lemon bushes here just outside of the greenhouse. I can't wait for these to grow to add color to the area. I planted more of my seeds and crops inside as well. I started working on the sugarcane setup just behind the greenhouse. I dug a water pit for it, making an efficient pattern. Planted all of the sugarcane I could and went to sleep. I then placed down those vegetable crates I found earlier. They look good as decor on shelves in here, so I'm just checking up on my quest book again. I claimed the A Cook's Humble Beginnings quest, and finally the Inviting Jess quest. She materialized in my face. She's wearing a sick shirt. She seems to be able to trade things for miles tickets also. I made a fishing rod and went fishing to fish one of the book quests. I caught a fish. Well, my first fish was just a fish skeleton, so my luck is insane. I caught a few more and saw some manta rays swimming nearby. They look so cool. Like, just look at them. I love manta rays. I headed home to watch the sunset and noticed some ash was sitting on the windowsill. I guess it's part of the decor now. I woke up and caught a few more fish before I read through the quest again and realized it specifically wanted tuna. So I headed out to try catching ocean fish. I collected a few rewards along the way, but no tuna luck yet. Saw a shark swimming nearby. I got scared but cautious whether he tried to bite me. I observed him for the quest, then decided to not test my luck and swam home. I made an anvil, I started planning an enchanting setup, and then realized how late it was and went to bed. Today, I go down and feed the cows, and go and collect the sugarcane. I talked to Jess, who's standing on the stairs. She said something nice about our build. I don't mind if she lives with me, if she keeps that up. I made the books up now that I have more. I quickly pushed Jess off of the stairs. I actually think she's stuck there, so I just crafted a diamond pick and went looking for a nearby lava pool. I might as well farm the sugarcane I left here and begin mining for obsidian. I think building it under the staircase would look good, so we can move the waystone and build an outline here. Finally, I got enough to make a basic enchanting setup. I made some bookshelves, but we definitely need more. And then today, I looked up the recipe for a tablecloth. One like I had seen on the starting screen for the mod pack, because I thought it'd look good in our kitchen here. It took a minute to collect some wool and some blue dye. And then while out collecting white flowers, I found a cat stuck on a ledge and villagers stuck in a hole. I freed the villagers and went home. I placed the tablecloths down and made a couple more. It looks like a little cottage is in here already. I love it. It really matches our farm color theme. I then watched the sunset and ended the day. Today, I claimed the computers from the quest. It seemed like they needed power to work, which, makes sense. And made a generator to power the electrical equipment. I ran to grab some lava, and as soon as I put it in, the generator started buzzing. I then grabbed a wrench, I hooked up everything, and boom, the TV turned on. Then I just mess with the computer. I see things are coming soon. There's even Pong on here. I lose instantly, so just time for bed. I then messed with the TV again to see if anything good was on. Turned around and just jump scared me. What are you doing, bro? I built a fridge for my kitchen and placed it beside the sink. I love that you can actually see it open. I filled it with all of my meats. Pause. I crafted some fences. I tried out these lattice ones, but I think the horse fences I've been using as a railing just looks better. I wanted to expand the farm area outside of the greenhouse, as we are running out of room. We can make bigger wheat fields, berry vineyards, the works, and then just slept, planning to build tomorrow. And so I started day 48 by surveying the land and mapping out in my head where the fences should go, and began digging out the area for the new farm layout. I placed fences, then realized I prefer them too high. Made a whole bunch. I laid more fences, marked out the crop field, thinking that a 2-block gap would work best if I wanted to add some trapdoors as trims, and decided where the berry vineyard would go. Tomorrow, we will make some trapdoors to decorate our wheat farm. I also saw a cool berry vineyard design on Pinterest again, so I wanted to make something similar near our farm. I kept working on the farm area today. I started by making the trapdoors for decoration. I tested out a couple of variations, but settled on the regular barrel-looking ones, and ended up with 69 of them. Stop laughing. I needed 31 more, so I just made 32 instead. You know, just close enough. I lined the edges of the raised beds with them, I added water and tilled the soil. Looked really good by the end of the day. Day 50. I planted all of the wheat seeds I had this morning, trying not to open the trapdoors as I placed them. I gathered materials for the berry farm outline, but made the wrong fence type, spruce instead of oak. I went back, fixed it, rebuilt the fence correctly, and used the spruce ones for the berry area instead. I then added trapdoors and walls for detail. It looks like a real berry farm with supports, so I'm happy with my work. I then made some more spruce fences for the berry farm and started placing them down to match the ones I did yesterday. Then planted all of the berries. It looks so good. I actually love it. I harvested some more wheat. I filled up the rest of the planters. And I now wanted to test out these cobblestone pavement tiles, but I don't really like any of them, so I then made a classic dirt path. I kind of wanted to expand the fences here, maybe add, some more bushes next to the wheat fields. I replanted the greenhouse for now and started thinking about adding lighting to the farm. I think some lampposts will make this farm feel very cozy. And then today I collected a bunch of materials and crafted lanterns so I could start building lampposts. Not sure exactly where I want them yet, so I just started to, make some of the spots and just kind of guess where everything's going to be going. Also, Jess kept getting stuck on the stairs, so I allegedly gave her a little shove. I meant not, she fell down the stairs, officer. But I built up the lamppost, and honestly, it looked sick. I added a path leading toward the cow area under the house, and waited for nighttime just so I could see how cool the lights looked shining over the farm. It's perfect. Just enough light to make it really atmospheric and cozy, so I went to sleep very pleased. I then fixed up the paths a bit more today. I added some coarse dirt for texture and made a little lantern by the animal pens. I then planted the rest of the berries in the berry farm, then ran out to gather some moss. I used bone meal to multiply it, to spread the moss around the path to add more texture. I then extended the path to the house entrance and crafted more oak fences. Placed them down, filled out some gaps in the ground, and called it a night. And the fence is finished. It looks great. I really like that you can curve it around the edge here, so I just moved the water source closer to the greenhouse. I've been building and farming for ages, so it'll be good to get out and find more crops, new materials, maybe cool animals to complete more of our quest. And looking at the minimap, I set a waypoint in the snow biome. I want to find the polar bear first. I farmed a little bit to wrap up the day. I got stabbed by a berry bush many times and went to bed full of thorns. And finally, we are set out exploring. I reached the snow biome and realized I forgot my snowshoes, so I turned right back around to go get them. I found new plants and discovered that the snowshoes make me move fast on snow, and the highlight of the day was finding a penguin. My family. Look at us together. Then, I saw a baby penguin, and just look at him. I want to kidnap him. Also, a snow bunny completes my grass animal quest. And later on, I stumbled on a pillager outpost. I freed the golems. I got scared. There were no pillagers, but it felt cursed, just very weirdly empty. I actually found some armor trims and some trinkets. I made sure to let this other golem out too. I can't leave him in there. And running away from the cursed outpost, I found a snow village. I heard pillagers here and hid inside of a house. I waited a moment before making a break for it, running further into the village. I looted that too. I spotted a cat and met baby Garth, and I stayed here for the night. And so I kept exploring. I found some azurine and finally spotted what I came out here for, a polar bear. She begins to chase me. I run away. I then found some blueberry bushes, and then the blueberries ran away from me. And then yet another waystone. I discovered this little ice hut with a ladder that goes way down. It turns out that it's a mine shaft. And I looted a chest. Not really that great of stuff. I mined some ochrum, moss, and a few other ores. A minecart chest had a few things in it, but still a bunch of nothing. I stayed inside since it got dark, and I just stood still all night. Then I ran from my icy hideout and spotted a persimmon tree. I found a tiny abandoned house, raided it, but had nothing in there really. Then went into another mine shaft. Looked away for 1 second while checking a chest and nearly got obliterated by a creeper. I almost died. Like, holy crap, I survived barely, and ran away super brave-like. Next up, I cleared out the area. I placed a waystone in case I did die, and looted everything. I killed a few mobs, which are just terrifying, just 10 out of 10 not fun. Then realized I'd forgotten to upgrade my backpack, so I did that. Waited for my iron to smelt, reorganized everything, then went back upstairs and chilled until the day rolled over. And now we're exploring again. So I saw a fig tree, I collected one, and found a much bigger village this time and absolutely looted everything. Like the books, materials, all of it. Sorry villagers, not really. And then I managed to upgrade my backpack to the cold level to give us more room. I threw stuff into my huge backpack and threw a nasty tomato at the wall. Sorry for that, villagers. I suddenly realized I had friendly mob sounds off for ages. That's why everything's been so quiet. I activated their waystone and slept in the village surrounded by loud villagers again. Then once leaving their village, I kept walking into the woods, digging up some new darker dirt and found a penguin? In the forest biome? Just waddling around? So far from home, little guy. I gathered a bunch of logs, flowers, and shrubby saplings, trying to complete a few collection quests while I'm out. I found another village, looted it a little, and spent the night there. Up next, I woke up in the village, in a stranger's bed, and started wandering around and got a centennial trophy for opening a bunch of chests, which honestly just means I'm a professional loot goblin at this point. I saw this kid that isn't terrifying at all. I made myself a chest plate because apparently I've been running around half dressed this whole time, so little oopsie poopsie there. I then found some new flowers. I spotted a pillager outpost again, and immediately one of them locked onto me like a heat-seeking missile. I eventually lost him and started picking up logs, mushrooms, and all sorts of just random stuff again for my quest. I then found another little house. Of course, I went in, but they had nothing worth taking, and then I stumbled upon lupins. There are these gorgeous flowers, and I might be obsessed. So I grabbed a bunch of those with some clovers. Then a thunderstorm hit. I won't lie, I was very much so in the zone, so it kind of just scared the crap out of me. I didn't know if I should wait out the night or risk it, but I found some redwoods and another village, so I slept there instead, with some loud penguins nearby. Before leaving this village, I looked through their chest full of nothing useful, and my inventory is crazy full. I found a mushroom village today, saw a mushroom wandering around. I'm gonna stare at her for a moment to get the quest unlocked. Then I decided it was time to go home. My inventory can't take any more exploring right now. I used their waystone and unloaded everything. I sorted the chest, organized like a responsible adult, and then realized it was already night, so I just went to sleep. And finally, I had enough tickets to claim the storage system to store my hoarded goods in. I set it down, I stuffed it full of logs. I needed more discs, so I brought out the market guy and started thinking about how to get more tickets. Catching fish, selling dishes, that kind of grind. I planted blueberry bushes in the berry field. I planted the rest of my crops in the greenhouse and made way too many berry cookies. I tried giving villagers food, but apparently I need a menu first, so I needed apples for that. I remember I saw an apple tree ages ago, so I decided I'd go and grab some of those tomorrow. I then left the village and tracked down that apple tree I'd seen before. I tried to craft some apple saplings like in Pam's Harvest Craft, no luck. So I chopped the tree down and just hoped I'd get one the old-fashioned way, and I did. I got a apple sapling, thank God. So I headed home, planning to grow more, and I saw an orange tree. Grab that so we can start an orchard back home. I crafted some cobble materials and then headed to bed. I started digging out space for the orchard today, then realized I'd need way more dirt, so I went back for a shovel and grabbed a bunch. While working, I started thinking, maybe I should do the enchanting setup now instead of later. And so I fed the cows and then realized I already had a ton of books sitting around. I made more bookshelves, I placed them in the enchanting area, but I don't have enough XP for level 30 yet, so I started breeding animals to level up. I then filled in more dirt and realized I'd still need more tomorrow and called it a night. I then dug up a ton more dirt and finished shaping the orchard area. I want it to be a rough circle, kind of like an old Irish/Scottish rock wall formation. So I started marking it out roughly. It's actually starting to look really nice. And then the sun went down, so I packed up and went to sleep. I'm not saying the meme, but I finished the outline for the orchard today. It's not perfect, but honestly, it's kind of the charm of the design, so I love it. I built the outer walls higher and kept going right up until sunset. I then added some mossy cobble to the walls. What do you think? It really helps make it look old and like it's been sitting here for a while, basically. I then roughly placed down the fruit tree saplings, and I started thinking about how I want to find more fruit trees and figure out what biomes they spawn in. I made a small path closer to the orchard, not finishing it until the trees grow. Realized I really need an XP farm. I'm broke. I remembered that zombie spawner down in the mines and figured I could just use the magic mirror or a waystone to travel back and forth. So I crafted a hopper, I grabbed some materials to build the farm, then it got late and so I went to bed first. And then, day 69. Stop laughing. I headed down into the mines again and immediately spotted diamonds. Just right there, in the open. People are probably yelling at me in the comments for walking past them before, so my bad. I then went deeper into the big cave and finally made it back to that zombie spawner. I spent the next few days turning it into a proper XP farm, just building a proper kill chamber using the materials from the spawner room. And my pick was about to break, so I used my magic mirror to get out of there fast and straight to bed. And so I made some new pickaxes and headed right back down to the zombie farm. I found a kiwi tree on the way, so I stopped to grab that. I dug down again, I made a hole in the ground and set up a water bucket so I can just jump down here. Now that I'm down here, they begin to spawn. And it turns out they had pumpkin heads on since it's Halloween when I recorded this. 2025. I then grinded XP through the night, and after collecting enough XP, I went home with a magic mirror and enchanted a diamond sword. Just some basic enchantments for right now. But before heading back to the XP farm, I planted some kiwi saplings in my orchard. I headed back to the XP farm to grind through the night again into day 74. And one of the zombies dropped a teal backpack that actually matches the whole color scheme. So I swapped all of the stuff over to that one. And during the night, I actually moved the enchanting setup over here and enchanted a few diamond tools, though I still need more XP for better enchantments. I used the mirror to warp home and grab some materials to work on the orchard. We'll put in some wheelbarrows. I had prepped the materials for them earlier, and made a villager menu so I could finally take orders. I got a solid first request. These look simple-ish to make, though I'll need to find more ingredients soon. Then ended the day sleeping in a nearby village. Day 75. I then made a decorative tomato crate for the orchard that looks kind of like an apple, and then placed the crate next to my apple trees. I planted some flowers around, and it all came together nicely, making this farm look more colorful and cool. I grabbed some glowberries and rice from the fridge, and then resized the cow pen to make it a bit cozier. I planted the glowberries and rice under the house for now, and harvested the greenhouse crops, my orchard, my berries, and went to bed. I teleported to a village through a waystone and found what looked like an abandoned village site nearby. I noticed some suspicious gravel dig spots, so I decided to make a brush and check them out. I ended up brushing up a bunch of items scattered around the area through the night. I brushed up so much, I'm not even going to show you it all. I started working towards a tower nearby while I was brushing, and it turns out it's a beehive. I gave it a little raid and then continued exploring. I discovered yet another tower. It seemed kind of pillagery, so I stole their stuff. I let their little blue prisoner free, and I observed it for my quest. Next, I came across another village. I put the cloud in a jar that I had found on my belt, so I can double jump. I raided all of the chests in each house, but they had nothing good to take except for one house right in the back, which had a few enchanted books that I took just to have and rested there for the night. I then collected a ton of pretty flowers. I cut down a moth tree to grab saplings. It's such a nice color. And checked through my quest logs to collect the ones I completed. We got so many miles tickets. And then I found another village. And their chests were mostly nothing to talk about except for these springy boots that let me bounce off of surfaces. And once again, I slept in someone else's bed. Now for today, I did almost the same thing as yesterday. I found yet another village and raided it for loot, and picked up some mud nearby. I looted everything I could before turning in for the night and sleeping at the village. I then kept exploring outwards and honestly spent most of the days of 80 and 81 just walking. Grabbed some saplings, flowers, reeds, and a little hut with so much dog food. There was a cherry grove nearby, and I cut it down expecting it to fall, but it lagged. Okay, a goofy tree. I ran, or rather frolicked, through the plains, and finding another village right as the sun set. So I ended the night of day 81 at a village again. I forgot to press record again, so my bad, but I ran a little more and discovered this small village in the snow. I found this angler hat in one of their chests, which will be super helpful for the fishing quest later on, and I kept exploring. I then came across a swamp, I spotted some frogs, I picked up more flowers, and admired the cool landscape. I found a swamp village with a tower, raided it a bit, and slept there for the night. Oh, and finally, I found some cranberries. Yay! Hopefully, none of the spiders that go with them. But yeah, like I've been looking for these forever. I also found another village and ran into some dead shrubs and a bayberry tree. I remember to cut it down to bring it back to the orchard, then used a waystone to head home real quick. Then empty all of my inventory and backpack off camera, and then headed to bed. I started the day crafting a fishing rod, then placed a jack-o'-lantern since it's near Halloween. I spent the day grinding XP to make the rod as strong as possible, and continuing the grind into the night. I then went home to grab wood and fix the enchanting table. I added more books. The table now has 22 enchant power, and hopefully I can get a much better enchantment. After not that many rerolls, finally I got a decent rod. I decided to grind some more XP to enchant other tools while I was at it. Then deciding to leave the zombies alone midway through this day, I made sure to enchant my shovel after a bit of grinding. I finished the day by gathering and crafting materials for a fishing dock and dug out some grass to make access to the water a lot easier. Also some light terraforming done. I filled in more of the ground, making sure it looked natural. I finished that and then started building the deck, making sure it's wide enough to have a little hut at the end. The deck is starting to come together with the fences on the side, making a railing. Then night came quickly, so I used the mirror and went to sleep. I needed more decoration, so I grabbed a saw and placed various decor items on the deck. I put logs underneath as supports. I wanted to look more realistic, so it looks great. I'm not sure if I love how the birch logs blend with the spruce logs, but I'm just leaving it as it is for now. And then I just went to sleep. But I didn't like the other log combinations I tried, so just kept it as is. The fishing area is now fully set up. I then put on the angler hat and started fishing. I caught a bunch of cool fish, 2 enchanting books, and Neptune's bounty chest with some loot inside. There was a driftwood and a message in a bottle we couldn't read. The Neptunian helmet looked sick, so I put it on and then slept through the night. I grabbed the oven from the old house, picked up the menu request from a villager, and gathered the ingredients for baked cod stew and cooked it. That was pretty simple, to be honest. Stored it safely and then realized I needed a specific pizza oven for a pizza request. So, checked the recipe and figured out I also needed a crafter, which needs a stone cutter. Instead of making one, I went on a village hunt throughout the night to find a stone cutter. Nothing for ages, but finally found one, yippee. I then found another one just in case, and went home and went to sleep. Then I made the crafter, and realized I didn't have enough redstone for the oven. I placed the crafter down, found my wrench, connected it to the generator, and turned it on. I went down to mine for some more redstone. I dug through the night a bit, and found a bunch of redstone, diamonds, and a few chests with loot. I got a bit lost, but made my way out and went to sleep. I turned the generator on, used the crafter to make an oven, microwave, toaster, and range hood. I connected all of the power. I looked up the pizza recipe and realized I needed salt first to make cheese. I got confused when it wouldn't work. It was missing power because I turned the generator off. So, oops. So I turned it back on. I checked the salt. I milked the cow, made cheese, and prepared the wheat dough. I then placed all of the ingredients on the chopping board and made a raw meat pizza, then cooked it in the oven. I figured out how to craft ice for a kiwi popsicle. I made the proper fridge and placed it next to the other fridge. I placed water buckets to try and turn them into ice, and it didn't work, so the freezer was broken and couldn't be fixed. So I contacted the mod pack creators. They said I'd have to spawn the ice to complete the mission. I tried checking for ice in a village just to see if there was any there first, but no luck, so I just went home to spawn some in. I made the kiwi popsicle and watched the sun rise. I then planted the mulberry trees and poppies. I bone mealed the ground and made more crates to decorate the orchard. I used tickets to upgrade storage disk and moved over some of my stuff. I went on an adventure to look for cocoa beans and continued through the night. I then found lots of goodies, a village, cocoa beans, jungle logs. I then explored a small village, found a spruce jungle temple with cool trims, and kept looking for a acacia to unlock the quest while exploring. I found a peach tree in a village, then discovered a dark oak jungle temple, so raided that quickly. I grabbed a sunflower, discovered a little hut underground, and decided to sleep there for the night. I checked all of the nearby biomes. I found shrubs, flowers, and other collection items I'd missed. I slept at a village and decided it was probably best to head home, as I couldn't find a mangrove, acacia, or desert biome. But right before returning home, I checked the map and I saw a weird dark biome I didn't recognize. I approached it and, atop of a cliff, I spotted a lone acacia tree. Like, genuinely crazy luck. I explored a little more. I found a tiny acacia biome with some peacocks, and discovered a jungle-esque village. I raided and explored before going to sleep. I explored briefly, then decided to head home to finish some things and make the chocolate pie. I made the pie crust, prepared the filling, and successfully completed the chocolate pie. I planted more fruit trees and decorated around the base with clovers. I took food to the villagers and traded with Ronaldo, who gave me 6 mile tickets. So happy. Definitely worth all of that effort, thank you. I decorated with leaf litter, more clovers and flowers, and farmed some crops. I went to sleep and planning to finish up remaining tasks on day 100, which I made a cheesecake to display it on the kitchen counter. It feels so homely in here. I tried to catch a tuna, but fished for ages, but I only got other fish. But I had a very peaceful last day. Now, Dave, if you love this episode, I can do a 200-day episode with more meals for villagers, possibly building a village near our house for the villagers to live in, and more collecting. There's still so much to find, and exploring the Nether with its enhanced biomes. Though for now, this is the end of our 100-day journey in Farming Crossing 5. So I'll see you in the next one. See ya.